Okay, what's going on, everybody? My name is Mangg. Welcome back to Hanging with Mangg. Episode 297, closing in on that 300. Pretty wild stuff. Been doing Hanging with Mangg for like almost 6 years now, I think. Sounds about right. Every week. That's a lot of hanging. No doubt about it. Yeah, so we're playing Monster Hunter World today. I've been playing a good amount of this with my brother, who's never played a Monster Hunter before in his life. And I've been playing Monster Hunter games for like a decade. So Monster Hunter for me has always just been this solo thing. You solo hunt. In Monster Hunter World, recently, in the last year, I discovered the whole SOS system, and I was like, oh, I'll give that a try. And actually, I enjoyed hunting with random people through the SOS system. I mean, most of the time they were fairly competent. So it worked out. It was fun. But I've never really hunted with anyone that I knew, that I talked to, voice chat and all that. So, my brother and I and Mert have been playing some games here and there, co-op stuff. Like Trine 4 we played through, and Magicka 2 we played through. Vermintide 2, and I was like, well, why don't we play Monster Hunter World? And Mert had played it before on like Xbox a little bit by himself, mostly. And he hasn't been playing much with it. He's been busy now, but yeah, my brother and I have been doing a bunch of I've been introducing him to Monster Hunter, and he's really been enjoying it, so it's been fun. And yeah, as you probably noticed, I also introduced him to Dark Souls. So it's been interesting sharing some franchises that I love with my brother. Anyways, over on the Exploring series this week, I uploaded a video about the Mana Charitable Foundation, the MCF, which performed reasonably well. Can't complain. I mean, my numbers for May have just been really good overall. Views and subscribers and stuff. Just been all good. Dang. I'm gonna get my ass roasted. Oh my god. And so yeah, I mean, nothing groundbreaking, nothing earth-shattering. I don't know if other YouTubers do this. But I have a tendency to just be like, because I watch plenty of other YouTube channels, most of which are more popular than me, the more subscribers. So I look at these other channels and I look at their numbers and stuff, and it's like, Why can't I be that big? And then, but it's like, you know, I ignore how big I actually am compared to so many small channels. So I don't know if other YouTubers do that as well, but there's always going to be someone bigger than you, unless you're PewDiePie, I guess. So I really can't complain. What? Are you kidding me? And this week I worked on a video about all sorts of dog SCPs. This was a video topic that had been sitting on my Patreon poll for a year without winning. And I think at some point someone commented and said like, oh, you know, well, we would absolutely, you know, watch these, whatever video you put out. You know, they're not winning the polls because they're just not, they don't sound interesting. And it's like, I guess I can see that, but it's like, I know they're going to be interesting. I know it's going to be interesting. I wouldn't pick a topic that I didn't think would be interesting. That would be stupid of me. So now that I've done the dog SCP video, I can confirm it's pretty interesting. There's some good ones in there. I mostly lean towards just the nice, wholesome ones. The most popular dog SCP is the puppy machine, which is basically this machine that brings out like some sort of, you know, copy of a dog, and then a user inputs like an execution method, and then it kills the puppy. And then like a message comes out that says, you know, you're going to hell for this, or something like that. I hate it. I don't get why it's popular. I don't want anything to do with it. I didn't even mention it. I was thinking like, oh, maybe I should mention like, oh, I didn't include the puppy machine because I hate it. But it's like, I don't even want to draw any attention to it. I don't want people to look it up. I just want it to not exist. And I'm not even a dog person. If it was like a cat machine, like a kitty machine, I'd probably actively petition to remove it. But maybe that's a bit much. I just don't like it. I don't like it. People can like whatever they want, I guess. It's my video though, goddammit, and I'm not including it. So I went for the more wholesome stuff, mostly. So it's sort of, I don't know if it's, I guess it's a little sad. It's more like a sad in a good way, maybe? I don't know. You'll have to watch it yourself. But it was a very easy video to put together at the end with the editing, because it's like, well, all I need is just a whole bunch of pictures of dogs. It's pretty simple. Now, I could have gone with like more specific stuff related to each SCP, but it's really tough. I mean, one of the SCPs is about Laika, the first animal in space, the dog. And it's like, even finding like that many pictures of Laika is not easy. And that's like a famous dog. So this other SCP stuff, it's not, I mean, it doesn't work like that. Much as I would like it to. So it's mostly just pictures of dogs, which is fine. And then, you know, whenever I do cat SCPs, that'll also be easy to put together. Just a bunch of cat pictures. Um, so it is what it is. I'm sure people will like it. I'm confident. I'm confident. Of course. So that's that. That's the good old exploring series. Of course, I could have released a D&D video this week, but once again, laziness got the best of me, as it does. But I think the next video is going to be on liches. Liches are pretty cool. And you know, lich is just an old word for corpse. I didn't know that. But now you know that. Bug! Yeah, that's that. Over on this channel, of course, more Final Fantasy VII Remake, more Surge 2. Final Fantasy VII Remake should finish this week. I think. Maybe like the end of the week. And then I'll be rolling into Dragon Quest IV. I'm like halfway through Dragon Quest VI now. And then we've got 7, 8, 9, and 11, I believe. So, plenty of Dragon Quest. Fuck. Wow, Gosh, I'm not even, like, thinking clearly. So Dragon Quest will be going on for quite a while. And then it's like, you know, eventually I want to do like the whole Tales series. Like Tales of Vesperia and all that. My brother's a huge fan of those games, and I'd love to just play through all of them. I've played through like 0. I played Vesperia, I think, but I don't know if I ever beat it. And I'd also love to do like, I don't know, the Suikoden series and the Breath of Fire series would be cool. I mean, there's just so many, like, there's so many fucking video games out there, man. I'm gonna be making Mangg's Let's Plays until I die. Until I die. Which hopefully is not anytime soon, because there's a lot of games I still want to play. That's that. The Surge 2, I did some math. And I may be off a little bit, but it seems like I'll finish the Surge 2. I'll finish uploading it right around when The Last of Us 2 comes out. Like, it lined up pretty well from my math. So, that should work out. And then after Last of Us 2, I don't know... we'll just have to look at the horizon. This whole pandemic thing is messing up release schedules and stuff. Ghost of Tsushima, I don't remember exactly when that comes out. We'll find something to play. We always do. Like I said, many games. And we also had, two brothers play Dark Souls. My brother is very apprehensive about doing a video on Dark Souls because a long time ago, a couple years at least, he had done a video for his channel that he never even uploaded, in which he and his wife started playing through the start of Dark Souls. And they couldn't get past the asylum demon at the start after playing for like an hour. And I had not been there to like assist them or walk them through it or anything. I told them like, hey, they were looking for games to play, and I'm like, well, Dark Souls, great. Little did I know. So, they didn't even upload the video out of like embarrassment. They couldn't do anything. It's a game that can make someone feel like they're not a great gamer. If things don't click for them or whatever, it's a little obtuse to get into. So he had sort of sworn it off all this time. But I was like, no, we can do two brothers play. I'll be there to walk you through things. I'm not gonna let you suck. You're gonna beat the asylum demon. And lo and behold, he did beat the asylum demon. If you have not watched the video, I will spoil it. He beat that thing. Didn't even take him that many tries. Although, to him, it felt like a lot of tries. He's not used to... He's really not used to difficult games, I guess. We did a hunt. We did a hunt. I've been helping him with Monster Hunter World. I've been playing through sort of the campaign with him. And I dumbed down my equipment and everything to basic stuff so that I wasn't just slaughtering things. But on one hunt, I switched to like the heavy bow gun or something like that. Or I switched to something that was not working for me. And the hunt took like 11 minutes. And he was like, oh, that was a long one. And it's like, for fuck's sake, I've been spoiling your ass rotten. Because every other hunt before that had been taking like 5 or 6 minutes. So I'm like, you need to just do a hunt on your own. So that you can see how a normal hunt goes. So he ended up doing Diablos on his own for the first time. He did do it on his first try. It took him 32 minutes. So I think that gave him a bit of perspective. But yeah, he's mostly an MMO player. So he's mostly used to just doing things with other people, and not really struggling that much, not dying over and over and redoing things, stuff like that. So this is really, you know, we're not the same type of gamer. But, you know, he doesn't mind doing things co-op. So he's really been enjoying Monster Hunter co-op. And in Two Brothers Play Dark Souls, he started to really enjoy things once he summoned me to just, you know, assist a little bit and be there. And I don't mind. So I sort of talk about that in the video, but it's like, what is the true Dark Souls experience? Because if you've watched my sort of Let's Plays of Dark Souls games and stuff, you know that I never summon any help or anything like that. And I feel like if you can't beat a boss by yourself, you don't deserve to beat it. You know, you didn't really do it. But that's just my opinion, and that's how I play. But, you know, I don't know if there is a true Dark Souls experience. Like, is there one way to interpret art or experience, you know, is there one true way to experience a film or, you know, things like that. So that's why I'm not being too preachy about things here. Because if he enjoys Dark Souls playing it co-op, and he wouldn't enjoy it playing by himself, who the fuck am I to say, no, you're wrong? This is how you gotta play Dark Souls. I'm not gonna be like a gatekeeper in that way. So, you know, I do want to be careful doing a co-op so that I don't just sort of like lead him through the game and be like, oh, don't go there, we gotta go here, and we're doing this, and okay, you stay back, I'll handle this. You know, I don't want to do any of that. Because then it's just like, you might as well watch a Let's Play, you know, that's not close to playing the game. Fuck, Brachydios. Why did I pick this hunt when I'm doing the hanging with Mangg? Fuck. So, yeah, I mean, we're gonna be sort of a little restrictive about how much I help and how much he summons me and things like that. I'd prefer if he at least experiences each area on his own, and, you know, for the first time, and then if he dies once or twice, you know, fine, I'll summon in, you know, I'll come in as backup, but yeah, I don't mind. And I've never really played co-op, so it's sort of new for me as well. And it is Two Brothers Play, so it works. Dude, I just want to go back to camp. Let me go back to camp. These fucking Gastodons, I'm gonna murder them. So, yeah, initially I was like, look, just do one video, play it one time. If you still don't like it, you want nothing to do with it, well, I'll move on. I won't bug you. But you gotta give me one. But we're gonna do more than one, so that's good. And ideally, I'd like him to play every game in the series. But things will get a little trickier. Well, I mean, like, Bloodborne, we're not going to be... Well, maybe. He does have a PS4. So maybe we can work something out. Demon Souls, that's a little trickier, maybe, with emulation. We'll see. Well, yeah, I don't know. Anyways, that's all that. Roll manging. We had a very short roll manging session this week for those that caught that. I had asked Ziggy before the session how long he planned on the campaign going. And he said that he was planning for this to sort of be the send-off mission. Because if we did it successfully, I would be sort of promoted to basically an Inquisitor, and the whole thing would be sort of shaken up by that. And I'd have my own ship, and, you know, things, it was a good sort of breaking off point. And that, I mean, it's fine with me. It was cool. I mean, it was a cool campaign. 40K is very cool. Stars Without Number is cool. But it's tricky, you know, when really only one person knows a lot about 40K. That's a little and that person is not the DM. That's a little tricky. And Stars Without Number, it's tough, you know. I'm sure it's possible to have like a 30-session campaign, but I don't know. I mean, we're sort of past that. If we get 9 sessions out of a campaign, it's solid. Fuck. Yeah. So the mission was to go onto this planet, go through this warp field surrounding the planet, and find this machine that's sort of creating or stabilizing this warp field, or augmenting, or whatever, and disable the machine so that the Imperial Guard can come in and all that, and liberate the planet. That was our mission. And we were chosen for this mission because we had already gone through this warp field, and, you know, we have this psychic blank on our team that can help us. Normally, I don't think the Imperial Guard would rely on a rogue trader, but it is an RPG, so. And I had my plan, you know, I had my plan, the explosives and all that. And I expected there to be complications with this plan, of course, but that was not a good thing to do. But you go with the plan and you hope for the best. Thomas was absent at the start of the session. He had some other things to do, but he told us to go ahead without him. So we make it through the warp storm, thanks to a good roll. And our pilot starts like taking us right in by the North Pole in a snowstorm, and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, man? This is not at all a good idea. So we sat and we like waited out the snowstorm. And then after that, we had much better visibility. We spotted this this little base, this outpost, quite a ways away. And the base had, it was just this little outpost. But part of it was these 3 like pylons. They were clearly like pulsating with warp energy and stuff. Those seemed to be our target, and we needed to disable these 3 pylons. And at this point, Ziggy knew nothing of my plan. He knew that I had bought a bunch of explosives, but that was about it. And so at this point, I explained my plan to him and the rest of the group. My plan was to prime up all the explosives, ready to detonate with just a little button command, remote detonation. And I was going to teleport myself and all the bombs to one of the pylons. Then I was going to leave behind a third of them, teleport to the next one, leave behind, you know, half of those. Teleport to the next one, leave behind the rest, and then teleport back to the ship and detonate them. Wasn't a foolproof plan because there were these psychic phenomena. You know, whenever I do a warp power, I have to roll on this table. Bad things could happen. Were likely to happen, really. I knew there'd be complications. But I had just taken a new psychic power, like an augmented thing, that let me teleport as an on-turn action. Which basically meant that I could teleport really fucking fast. And so fast that if I teleported in and did a single action and teleported out, no one would have time to react. Fuck. And so Ziggy had some questions and some issues with my plan, of course. One of which he didn't believe that I could just teleport this mass of bombs that easily without, like, them falling over and stuff. So we put all the bombs in, like, crates. Like, you know, milk crates. So I was really just teleporting these crates, which was fine. Aside from that, though, I answered the rest of the shit, and he was like, alright, I don't really have any other issues here, so let's just see it happen. First teleport went off without a hitch. Second one, I had a psychic phenomena occur that was like, basically like winds start erupting, or, you know, start occurring around the area. And they buffet, like, small items and stuff. So one of the crates starts to, like, fall off the pylon scaffolding that I'm on. I decide to just leave the one crate that's stable there, and then leap off after the other one. And as I'm falling, touch it and teleport to the third pylon. Fuck. Fortunately, that ends up working out. Teleport to the third pylon, no problem. All 3 crates are in position. Teleport back. I decide not to teleport back onto the ship, but like 100 feet away from it. just in case something terrible happens, at least, like, I don't blow up the ship. And I do get another psychic phenomena, which involves me taking a whole bunch of damage, like 22 out of 25 of my HP. But aside from that, I push the button, all 3 pylons explode, the warp rift goes down, the Imperial Guard comes in, cleans up the planet. I'm promoted to Throne Agent of the Inquisition, and I get a ship, and that ended the campaign. And I certainly feel a little bad. This was like the climax of our campaign, and the other 3 guys didn't get to do a single thing. I feel a little bad. But that's the thing, it's like, as far as I'm concerned, mechanically, narratively, what I did was the most optimal plan. I can't imagine a plan that would have gone better. I mean, how could it? The only thing that would have possibly gone better is if I had done it all and not taken any damage. But that's, I mean, that's crazy. I couldn't think of it. So this was really, like, practically optimal. So any other plan that would have involved everyone in the crew would be, by my definition, sad to say, suboptimal. And so that's the thing. It's like, do I purposefully initiate a suboptimal plan just to involve everyone? Or do I just do it all myself? And this is part of the thing where it's like, I tend to build characters that are very utilitarian, because that's what I like. Whereas others tend to build just like combat characters and stuff. And it's like, when you're a hammer, everything looks like a nail. What am I going to do to incorporate 3 combat characters that doesn't involve fucking combat? You know, and it's like, fine. You know, if we just wanted combat, then okay. We'll just rush in and we'll fight a big combat, and maybe one of us or 2 of us will die, and there you go. There's your big climax. Or I can just do it. I don't know. I'm conflicted about that stuff, and I have been conflicted for a while. And that's, I mean, some groups are all on board. 100, like, some groups would create 4 combat characters. I'm gonna die. Oh, no. Some groups would create 4 combat characters, and it would all, that would just be the solution. They would just go into combat and kill stuff. These groups play Dungeons and Dragons. But other groups might all be on board with creating, you know, utilitarian characters, spellcasters, psychic characters, things like that. Characters that solve problems through all sorts of other means that aren't combat-oriented. But I think probably most groups are a little more diverse. And so it's tough to have everyone on board and everyone happy all the time. Fuck. Now I die. Nope. I don't know. It's just, I saw the optimal plan and I went for it, as I tend to do. And Ziggy said that he could have, like, really made the whole outpost and everything really, like, anti-teleportation or something, just to screw me over. But DMs really shouldn't do that. DMs should just present a scenario, typically, realistically, you know, with logic involved, and then the players handle it, and they, you know, I shouldn't have to plan against God, you know. I should just have to plan against logic and physics and maybe, you know, human characters, you know, like human thinking, perhaps, but not just like God deciding to spite me. So, God dang. Anyway, so that was the end of our 40k campaign. Technically, Ziggy said that it was sort of a leaving off point, a bookmark, if we want to come back to it. But this is just something that DMs say. We have never once gone back to a campaign. So, do not expect us to go back to a campaign. Probably gonna time out on this fucking boss. So that brings us to the follow, you know, what are we doing next? Ziggy will be DMing another campaign soon. I think we're going back to fantasy stuff. I'm not sure exactly what he's planning. He mentioned he had an idea about like a plan, like the population of this fantasy world suddenly sees like an apocalyptic sign in the sky, and everyone starts interpreting it very differently. You know, some people think that it's the end of the world coming, or some people think it's a sign the gods are returning, or you know, all sorts of different. The rapture, you know, who knows, you know, there's all sorts of different interpretations, and he sort of wanted to toy around with that. But in the meantime, before that, that's a couple weeks away. Mert has been apparently planning a one-shot, 1 or 2 shot in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. And so that's what we're doing next week. Now, Mert is not the greatest DM. That's fine. I mean, there aren't that many great DMs in the world, all right? That's just a fact. I'm not that great of a DM. But it is a pre-written thing, so it's not too difficult to run. We don't really know anything about, like, the setting or the story or anything like that. He did say that it was sort of like meant to be run without a DM, but he's gonna run it as as an option. He's gonna run it as a DM. I don't know. I don't know anything about it. But we're going in as like level 4. We're level 4 characters. Fuck, don't die! Don't die! No! Dude, just... I'm gonna trap this Brachydios. I'm gonna successfully complete this hunt. I'm gonna put on the temporal mantle. Cheese it up. Oh, God. I don't want to waste this trap. Although I could just go get another trap. Here. There you go. Done, baby. Bet you didn't think I would do it. Thought I'd die again. Shame on you. No, that was a really embarrassing hunt, though. Don't be as bad as me. Anyway, so let it be said that I don't really care for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. I would say that I don't care for Dungeons & Dragons, but that's not exactly true. Because, A, I like the lore of D&D. I mean, I'm doing a whole series on it. I like what I've been doing. And I've never played like a D&D second edition. Or, I haven't played every edition of D&D, so I can't just blanket statement say that I don't like D&D. But I don't care for D&D 5th edition. And I think most of the reason comes from its overall focus is on combat. If you look at like the feats and the abilities you get, and most of the spells, it's all oriented around combat. That's Dungeons and Dragons. That's what you do in Dungeons and Dragons. You fight monsters. And there's nothing really wrong with that, but you have to like that. And as I've said, I don't. So I prefer systems that really let you... The more tools that a system gives you to avoid combat, the better I like it. That's basically it. Combat needs to exist, otherwise there's no point in avoiding it. But I want all sorts of tools and spells and abilities that just let me be clever. And I don't know if D&D has ever really... I mean, maybe at some point in the past, but everything I've played of 5th edition has just not let me be clever. Here and there, sure. But compared to Shadow of the Demon Lord, I mean, come on, it's not even a contest. And that's the thing, it's like, I want someone to tell me what D&D 5th edition does better than Shadow of the Demon Lord. Now, maybe from a DM perspective, maybe with monsters, the bestiary, and creating encounters, I mean, I wouldn't know. From a player perspective, though, I want to know what 5th edition does better than Shadow of the Demon Lord. Because for me, I would never choose 5th edition over Demon Lord. And Ziggy was like, for his next campaign, he was like, oh, I'm sort of thinking either like Dungeon Crawl Classics or no, he was thinking like Demon Lord or D&D 5e. And I was like, if you pick D&D 5e, I will be vocally against it. But I will begrudgingly play if that's what everyone wants. I don't know. I just never have that much fun. And normally, maybe I could really properly explain things as to why I don't have fun, but all I can tell you is I just don't really have fun playing 5th edition D&D. It doesn't make it a bad system. It doesn't make people that play it bad people. I would just never pick to play it. But I'm a team player. If that's what everyone wants, like, oh yeah, 5th edition is great, yeah. I would ask them why they don't like Demon Lord and why they'd rather play 5th edition. But I would begrudgingly play, and I wouldn't be like a sourpuss during the whole thing. But yeah, I guess we'll see. I mean, at the very least, we're doing a one-shot. So for the one-shot, I created a one-shot character, that's for sure. This is an old character I'd played like once before, named Korg the Wanderer. He's a Minotaur blood hunter of like the Order of the Mutant. And the last time I had played Korg, years back, was when I had first discovered sarcasm in the SCP universe. I had been away from the SCP wiki for a long time. I'd come back and I was looking at some of the new stuff, and I had seen that, oh, there's this sarcasm thing that's new. What is it? What is this? And I was just engrossed. I thought it was the coolest shit that the wiki had produced yet. And I was just so into all of it. And then we did something with D&D. I think it was like the Curse of Strahd or whatever. And I was like, oh, I want to make like a Sarkic character. Which is not really a good idea for a campaign. Don't do that. But for a one-shot, you can get away with all sorts of shit. So Korg the Wanderer is basically a Sarkic. He's a I mean, you know. I think I'm basing it now off of my previous his previous mentality. If I was going to make a Sarkic character today, it would probably be a bit different. But Korg the Wanderer basically wanders the planet by himself. He'll join up with others, as he will for the one-shot. And he's glad to have help as long as they don't interfere with his experiments. And basically, he's all about, like, vivisections. Like, you know, he's about live experimenting on sapient creatures in order to understand how life works, you know. And he'll spread disease and things like that to see how, you know, diseases spread through populations. And he's not a good character. There's nothing good about this. And that's what I'm saying. I would never play Korg in a campaign. I mean, that's just me. But a one-shot, you can do stuff. Not that I'm trying to sabotage the one-shot or anything like that. And Korg will go along with the group and do what they do. But, you know, if we're fighting goblins, he's going to abduct a goblin. And, like, you know, he's going to experiment on the goblin. It's going to happen. You know, you cut off its leg and you shove some mushrooms in there. You know, who knows what? Who knows what? He's just an incredibly unsettling character that, you know, he's useful in a fight. I mean, I didn't make him, like, useless in a fight. He's a blood hunter. He's got, like, his Minotaur charge. But I also gave him, like, a bit of grappling stuff, so he might just, like, start grappling somebody in the middle of combat and, like, bite off their ear or something, you know, things like that. He's not somebody you really want around, but he's sort of useful, so that's good. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it all goes. And I don't know, it might just be a literal one-shot. My guess is it's going to be a two-shot because we don't play for that long. And D&D takes forever. D&D fucking combat is just... But 5th edition is better than 4th edition. Because 4th edition, you have people leafing through, like, their 3 pages of abilities, like, oh, and how does this work? What does burst mean again? 5th edition streamlines it a little bit, but still... Yeah, it's no Demon Lord. So it'll probably be a 2-shot, but if not, I think the following week we'll just do something on Tabletop Simulator. And then we'll be starting up Ziggy's campaign. I don't know what system it is. Again, I will be vocal against D&D, but Demon Lord's great. Demon Lord, I'd kind of like to make a completely random character. I'd kind of be interested in that. Like, you completely randomize their race. You completely randomize their starting path. You completely randomize their novice path. If they get magic, you completely randomize the magic school they get. I want to try that out. I think that could be interesting. Give me a little bit of a challenge. Oh, God. But all right. I think that's enough talk. So check out Dog SCPs tomorrow, especially if you're a fan of dogs. Trust me, there's no puppy machine. It might be a little sad, but it's not horrific in any way. We got more Final Fantasy VII Remake coming this week. Hopefully the end of it. That sounds wrong, but I mean, probably the end of it. And the Surge 2, along with hopefully another Two Brothers Play Dark Souls. My name is Mangg. This has been Hanging with Mangg. See you fine folks next week.